In the last video, we explored the Chinese pronunciation system. In this video, we are stepping into the world of Chinese characters, which, in my opinion, is the most fascinating part of learning the language. We're going to look at how Chinese characters were actually designed. By understanding how these characters were created, you will be able to recognize 50 common ones quickly and build a strong foundation for everything that comes next. Unlike English, where letters only represent sound, Chinese uses characters to convey meaning directly. That's why just learning Pinyin isn't enough to truly understand the Chinese. Characters are what really carry the language. If you're still not confident with Pinyin and pronunciation, check out my last videos for a full breakdown of how Chinese pronunciation works. Chinese characters go way back, over 3,000 years. The earliest ones were carved into animal bones and turtle shells. We call them oracle bone inscriptions, or 甲骨文. At that time, people were drawing pictures to represent things. These pictures gradually evolved in more abstract shapes and eventually, over many centuries, became the square-style characters we use today. Now let's jump in the Chinese characters. Can you guess what these characters mean? Let me give you a little hint. Now, take another look. Starting to see more clearly? Looks just like a mountain. Well, what makes humans different from most animals? We walk on two legs. So this characters with two legs represents a person. The next one. The square shape is an open mouth. And 门, that's door. And it actually looks like a door frame. These four characters are great examples of one of the most important ways Chinese characters were created, by mimicking the shape of real things. This type of character is called a pictograph, like tiny drawings frozen in time. Now you might be wondering, why is the character for mouth written as a square? Shouldn't it look more like a circle? Like an actual open mouth? That's a great question. In ancient scripts like oracle bone inscriptions, the character for mouth actually looked more like an oval or rounded shape. But as Chinese characters evolved and became more standardized, especially in regular script, they were designed to fit neatly into square blocks. That's why modern Chinese is often called square script. So, 口, which is mouth, becoming a square shape isn't random. And if you ever confused Chinese with Japanese and Korean, you are not alone. The writing systems were influenced by Chinese, so there is overlap. But here's a quick tip. If you see lots of circles or curvy flowing letters, it's probably not Chinese, especially in formal writing. Alright, let's go back to those four simple characters. Let's see how more complex characters can grow from them. Okay, 山, it means mountain. Now, if you put two mountains together, you get a character 出, which means to go out, to emerge, or to come forth. Because in ancient villages, the path between two mountains was often the way out. Pretty clever, right? Now, what happens if you put two person characters together? You get 从, which means to follow, like one person walking behind another. What if you add a third person? That gives us 众, which means a crowd or many people. In Chinese culture, the number 3 often symbolized many. So 3 people together, a group. And now here's a fun one. What happens if you put a person inside a mouth? A person inside an enclosure, that's a prisoner. How about a person inside a gate? A person at the door, ready to dash away at any moment. So the character 闪 means to dodge, to flash, or to get out of the way. What if you add a little line across the middle? You got 栓, which means the bolt on the door. That line is like the metal bar you slide across to lock the door shut. Super visual, right? Here's another one. Mouth with door. Imagine someone knocking at your door and calling out, "Hello, anyone there?" That's 问, means to ask. Now let's look another fun group of pictographs. 木. This one looks just like a tree. Two trees together become 林, meaning a small forest or grove. And guess what happens when you add 3 trees? That's 森, a deep forest. You can almost hear the birds and wind in the trees. This characters combines mouth and the tree. It paints the image of someone standing still, mouth open, staring blankly. A super vivid character for being stunned or slow to react. Combine a person with a tree and you get xiu, which means to rest, like someone relaxing under a tree. This looks like a dancing flame, like a little campfire. What happens if you put forest on top of fire? You get fen, to burn or set something ablaze. 2 fires, yan, meaning blazing heat. And 3 fires, that's yin, which expresses extreme heat or roaring flames. Shui. The ancient form of this character looked like flowing water. Qi. This one originally looked like rising steam or mist. In Chinese culture, qi doesn't just mean air, so these tiny characters represent something as invisible as breath, but as powerful as the energy that moves all things. Chuan, just 3 vertical lines flowing downward. This character means river. Simple, right? Okay, next move to next group. Tian, it means field, farmland, and often symbolize agriculture. Mu, it's a photograph of an eye. And by extension, it also refers to viewing, focus, or even items in a list. Ri, a circle with a mark inside to show brightness. It means sun and also day, date, or time. Let's take a look at the character Dan. It's made up of 2 parts, the sun on top and the short horizontal line below it. So what does that line represent? Think of it as the horizon and the sun just beginning to rise above it. That's exactly what Dan means. Dawn or daybreak. The new day begins, a fresh start. Bei. Now let's talk about this cute character. In ancient China, people used cowrie shells as money, so this character became a symbol of value, wealth, and commerce. It's still doing that job today, not as real money, but in the way it used inside many modern characters related to money and trade. If you see Bei in a character, a big chance that is related to money and trade. Yue, it means moon and also refers to months and circles. In other characters, it can also be a symbol for flesh or body parts. Now, Hong, it made up of 2 Yue characters side by side, but here, the 2 moons were originally used to represent 2 matching pieces of cowrie shells. They were simplified forms of Bei, which we just talked about. So in this case, the Yue shapes are really standing in for value, for precious items. And the idea of 2 matching variables became the symbol of a pair, a companion. Over time, that meaning evolved into companionship, and eventually became the word for friend. Ming, if you put the sun and the moon together, you get a character Ming, which means brightness, clarity, and even wisdom. It's like the ultimate symbol of light, day and night combined, shining together. The shape of the character looks just like a human ear, with the outer curve and a little flap at the bottom. Cong, which means smart or intelligent, is made up of 2 parts. On the left, we have ear. On the right side is zong, which means always. In traditional Chinese thinking, a wise person listens more than they speak. I really like the wisdom behind this character. Wen, this character combines ear and door together. Imagine putting your ear next to a door to hear what's happening inside. This is exactly the image behind this character. Originally, it means to hear, but in modern Chinese, it also extends to smell, as both involve sensing things through organs. Some characters do take a bit of imagination. You might find your own way of picturing them, maybe even come up with a version that feels more vivid to you. But over thousands of years, these pictographic styles became widely accepted, and that's how they turned into the standard form that we use today. They're not just drawings, they're shared symbols we've all come to understand. Let's move on to the next group of characters, and they are full of personality. First, we have Zi, which originally meant child or son. In ancient scripts, it looked like a newborn baby with a big head and a small body and even little arms sticking out. It also used as a respectful suffix in classical Chinese, like in the names of the great thinkers Kongzi and Sunzi. Next is 女, which means woman or female. The Asian form of this character looked like a woman kneeling, with her head bowed and hands folded gracefully in front of her, which were traditional ideals of femininity. 女 is also a super common radical you will see in many female-related words like mother, sister, and more. When we combine 女 and 子 together, we will get 好 means good or nice, a scene full of love, harmony, and care. And 孕 means to be pregnant. It combines 子 and 奶, which looks like a curved line, symbolizing the womb or rounded belly. So the structure shows a child inside a curved body, which beautifully expresses the concept of pregnancy. 刀 meaning knife, with a handle on the left and a sharp edge on the right. It used to represent cutting tools or weapons, and it shows up in words like 切,刃, 力. 刀 is not only used as a standalone character, it also serves as a radical, which is like a root or building block in many other Chinese characters. When dao appears as a radical, it often shifts into a slightly different form on the right side of the character. The right side is a transformed version of dao, and it adds the meaning of cutting power or sharpness to the word. Okay, next character is Li. Here's a fun way to look at Li, which means strength or power. What if we extend the top stroke of dao and imagine it as a person holding the knife? Suddenly, it turns into Li. So, in a way, Li is like someone wielding a tool, someone with the means to work, build, or fight. It's not just raw muscle. It's the power that comes from using tools. Just like tools give us physical strength, language is a tool for the mind. Every new language you learn gives you more li, more power. So by learning Chinese, you're not just memorizing characters. You are gaining a new kind of strength. Now, what happens if we combine Tian and Li? We get a character, Nan, which means man or male. This character reflected how men were traditionally seen as the ones who worked the fields, using physical strength to farm. It's a vivid example of how Chinese characters reflect cultural values. In this case, the historical division of labor, men plow, women weave, or 男耕女织, but times have changed. Many Chinese women are breaking out of those old gender roles, and there's a powerful new term to describe this shift, 女力, literally female strength. It's like the Chinese version of strong woman energy, confident, capable, independent. Aside from pictographs, Chinese also has a second way of building characters by using symbols and abstract ideas. For example, 上 and 下. Each has a line representing the ground or a baseline. There's a short stroke that shows position. Above the line means up. Below the line means down. It's a simple but brilliant way to represent space and direction. Even numbers like 1, 2, 3 are based on this idea. So do you know how to write character 4, 5? How about 6? The character 本 is made of the tree character with a line at the base, pointing to the roots of the tree. It means origin, foundation, or essence. The word for Japan in Chinese is 日本, which literally means the origin of the sun. In other words, the place where the sun rises. It's a beautifully poetic name, and it reflects how ancient China viewed Japan as the land to the east. The character 中 shows a line going right through the center of the square. It means middle, center, or to hit the target. The name 中国, which is the Chinese name of China, literally means central country or middle kingdom. In ancient times, it referred to the central lands of civilization, especially the Chinese imperial capital and the surrounding regions. Over time, 中国 evolved from meaning cultural center to the official name of the Chinese nation. The third way the Chinese characters are created is called associated compounds. This method combines two meaningful parts to create a new idea. For example, 明 that is combined with the sun and moon means brightness and clarity. And 囚, a person inside an enclosure, means prisoner. And 从, two people walking together, that means to follow. These characters don't just show shapes, they combine meanings. It's like two parts coming together to tell a little story. The fourth and the most common way Chinese characters are created is through Phono-Semantic compound. These characters are made up of two parts. One part shows the meaning, called the semantic component. The other part gives a clue to the pronunciation, called the phonetic component. More than 80% of modern Chinese characters are built this way. This system allows Chinese to create thousands of words as a beautiful combination of sound and meaning. For example, the character for mom, left side is 女, meaning woman. Right side is 马, that's the sound clue. And 财, meaning wealth. Left side is 贝, in the ancient form of money. Right side is 财, gives the pronunciation. So you know it's related to money and you get a clue for how to say it. Alright, let's quickly review the four main ways Chinese characters are built. This is the foundation of how a writing system works. The first one, pictographs. These are characters that look like what they mean. Think of characters like 山, 人. They're like little abstract drawings. 2. Ideographs. These use simple symbols to show abstract ideas, like 上 and 下. 3. Associative compounds. Two meaningful parts come together to form a new meaning. 4. Phono-Semantic compounds. These characters combine meaning and sound. One part tells you what it means, the others helps you guess how to pronounce it. Over 80% of modern characters are made this way. Once you understand these building blocks, Chinese characters aren't so mysterious anymore. They become logical, beautiful, and even fun to learn. Homework time! I hope you can take a bit of time to memorize these characters. Try to recognize them and sound them out on your own. And let me know in the comments which characters was your favorite from this lesson. Hope this video helped you out. Next time, we'll dive into more Chinese characters, how to build words and write them too. See you then!